Click the bell icon to get latest videos from Ekeeda.
Hello friends, we'll be learning about how a suspense account can be created, what are the effects of suspense account, and what difference does it make when it comes to preparation of trial balance. Let's go ahead and find that out. So, when we spoke about errors, when we spoke about trial balance, we must have thought how a specific trial balance which already has a difference between debit and credit can be rectified in the first instance. We also thought about rectifying the journal entries. We also thought about checking the balances of ledger, checking each and every individual account if the transactions have been mentioned correctly, if the amounts have been posted correctly, and if the same output is reflected in the trial balance. If not, then we need to figure out where the error is. However, this is a long and non-ending process. So, to ensure that all my financial statements like the profit and loss account and the balance account is prepared at the end of the financial year, we need to make sure that this long non-ending process is cut short. Hence, we prepare suspense account. Suspense account is nothing but a small temporary treatment to ensure that the balance between the debit and the credit side of the trial balance is adjusted for time being until the issue is rectified. So we create this specific suspense account to make sure that any of these preparation, that means preparation of profit and loss account and preparation of balance sheet, is not stuck at any point of time when it comes to the financial year ending. So we prepare suspense account. Now we'll have certain points which I have already mentioned here. Let's go through them. Suspense account is mostly created for errors that affect the trial balance. That means errors that is single-handedly taken care of, or error that affect just one account. When any effect is seen on just one account, that means there is some difference which will be reflected in the trial balance. Hence, to ensure that that specific effect on any of these accounts which has hampered the preparation of trial balance, until that gets rectified, we prepare suspense account, and the difference either on the debit side or on the credit side is transferred to that account and the trial balance is tallied further. This trial balance will be moved forward for preparation of profit and loss account and preparation of other statement of accounts, that is balance sheet. Let's go ahead and find out the next point which has been mentioned here. As we have discussed that this account is used to adjust the difference between the debit side or the credit side of the trial balance. Now, when we speak about any of these accounts, this account is just a temporary solution. That's the next point we have mentioned. So when we talk about any of these temporary solutions, this is only to make sure that the current difference between the trial balance is complemented or probably is helped out with this account. Hence, the difference either on the debit side or on the credit side with that specific amount will be handled by this specific account. As we have already mentioned that this is a temporary balance or probably a temporary solution that we resort to when it comes to preparation of trial balance, so that all these errors are rectified in the meantime unless and until we prepare the profit and loss account and balance sheet and communicate further to our users, both internal and external. Until and unless that is sorted, we go ahead with preparation of suspense account, and that account acts as a savior in last resort. Other part that we have mentioned here is it can be used either to transfer the debit balance or the credit balance as per the requirement or as per the difference that we find. So if, for example, if my trial balance is showing a debit excess or a credit short, it can be adjusted accordingly. Either of the situation, if debit excess is shown, that means you need to make sure that whatever difference is there is transferred to this suspense account, or the suspense account is used to handle the differences between the debit side and the credit side. So this is the reason why we create a suspense account, and mostly in those transactions which are affecting trial balance, because when we talk about errors not affecting trial balance, that is something we need to understand, that the reason why they don't affect trial balance is because they have already affected two or more account. However, if it is affecting trial balance, that means it has affected just one single account, and that has to be rectified using this specific account. Let's go ahead and find out certain points about suspense account in detail. If we have any situation where these errors are not affecting the trial balance. That means the second case where there are two or more accounts which are already hampered because of this. We need to go ahead and check further on this part, like how these transactions are not hampering. Now, when it comes to anything which is not hampering the suspense account, or probably where the suspense account is not relatively required, then in such cases, we need to check which are those accounts which have already had multiple errors, and that's the reason these multiple errors are not reflecting in either of the trial balance difference. So when we speak about errors not affecting trial balance, we need to make sure that suspense account is not used, because the trial balance will have an equalized balance. When we talk about rectification of errors, there are three steps that we need to follow. First, to identify what is the wrong entry. Second, to pass the correct entry. And third, to analyze what will be the rectified entry. This is a very three-step simple process which you'll learn when you go ahead and practice the problems in the next video. Now, when we talk about rectification of errors, just make sure you need to understand what is the rectified entry that we need to prepare. But to prepare that, we need to understand first what is the wrong entry, which will be already mentioned in the question. What is the correct entry? That will be as per the rules, that will be as per the knowledge that you have when it comes to real account, personal account and nominal account. Hence I mentioned this specific video will have more details about real, personal and nominal account, because that will form the core of mentioning correct entries. So when you have a correct account or a correct entry, and when you analyze both these wrong entries and correct entries, you will get to know where the effect has to be made. Let's get an example for you. Supposingly, we have credit sales which has been done to Mohan. However, that amount has been 20,000, but it is recorded into the account as 2,000 itself. So what do we pass? Now, the entry here itself says that there is a wrong amount that has been mentioned. Instead of 20,000, we have mentioned only 2,000 into the account. That means the entry isn't wrong, but there is a wrong amount that has been posted. Let's figure out how do we solve this thing. So as we have mentioned here that has been a credit sale of 20,000 to Mohan. However, this has been mentioned as rupees 2,000 in the books of accounts. Now we have passed two entries here. We'll analyze these two entries and we'll further find out how suspense account will be used when it comes to preparation of trial balance or when it comes to rectification of errors under trial balance. Now, if you find out that the question says credit sales to Mohan rupees 20,000, however posted as 2,000. Now the wrong entry will be mentioned here. Mohan account debit to sales account. The entry is correct. However, the amount that has been mentioned is 2,000. That's the wrong entry. When we talk about the correct entry, we'll again pass the same entry. That means Mohan account debit to sales account. However, instead of rupees 2,000, we'll be mentioning at 20,000. Now we have a difference of 18,000. How do we adjust that difference of 18,000 when we know that so the entry is right? Mohan to sales. This is the entry. However, there is a difference of rupees 2,000 in it. That means 2,000 has been debited or credited instead of 20,000. The difference comes to 18,000, which needs to be adjusted, and hence we'll be using a suspense account. Let's go ahead and find out that entry, which will be termed as rectified entry. So when we spoke about the rectified entry, that means we'll be learning how rectification can be done. Here the entry seems to be correct. We just need to adjust the amount. So when it comes to wrong entry, that means Mohan to sales, which is just 2,000. The correct entry being Mohan to sales rupees 20,000. The difference has to be adjusted into the suspense account. So it has to be credited into the suspense account or it has to be debited into the suspense account. The balance will be suspense account debit to sales, that is 18,000. The only balance that has to be mentioned or the only rectification that has to be done in this video or probably in this transaction needs to become from this part. That means 18,000 is the balance that will be mentioned in the rectified entry, and suspense account will be used because we don't know which account will have the maximum effect. It can be either the Mohan account or it can be either the sales account. Hence, we have considered sales being the credit side and the suspense account being debited here. That means Mohan account, which had a difference of rupees 2,000 or probably 18,000 here, that means that account will be used as a suspense account and the sales will be credited as per 20,000 itself. That means the balance 18,000 will be moved to that sales account. So this is how you prepare when it comes to preparation of rectification, or probably rectification of any error that you need to find out. This was just an example to make sure you understand what you need to check. These entries might be wrong, so you need to pass on the wrong entry. You need to favor the correct entry, and then you need to analyze both these wrong and correct entries to ensure how we prepare a rectified entry. The reason why a suspense account is created, how it affects the trial balance, and how this specific trial balance can be rectified further if we have these kind of rectification step. That means the 3-step process that you need to follow. First being passing the wrong entry, second passing the correct entry, analyzing both these entries, and then passing the rectified entry as per the requirement. So this is what you need to understand, and this is what you have learned in here. So that's it for the day. Thank you for watching this video. Stay tuned to Ekeeda, subscribe to Ekeeda.